Welcome to the Emergent Human, where we explore optimizing health, embodied spirituality, and post-conventional living. I'm Michael Ostrolenk, a therapist, coach, and educator, and I'm your host. Shout out to Dr. Stuart Savatsky, a scholar of Kundalini Yoga. I'm working with Stuart on an online class to be launched soon on his book, Advanced Spiritual Intimacy, the Yoga of Deep Tantric Sensuality. Today's show is brought to you by Cosper Scafidi, an amazing body worker in the Northern Virginia area who has integrated different somatic practices into his work, including Rolfing. You can learn more about Cosper's work at cosperscafidi.com. Today's guest is Keith Norris, co-author with his wife, Michelle, of Primal Uprising, the Paleo Guide to Optimizing Your Health, Expanding Your Mind, and Reclaiming Your Freedom. Today is a special episode of the Emergent Human, where we'll be discussing the upcoming Paleo Fx conference, which is April 29th through May 1st in Austin, Texas. Good to see you, Keith.
Michael, thanks for having me on, and it's good to see you as always, brother.
Thanks, man. So tell me all about Paleo Fx and why everyone should be attending.
Yeah. So, what is Paleo Fx? So, which is a big question. So, Paleo Fx, the name would indicate that it is a show all about the paleo diet, and that would be true. That was the event's origin back in 2012, was to have a conference that demonstrated the practical side of paleo. In other words, where the rubber meets the road, how to work out, how to integrate this diet into an optimized lifestyle. But Paleo Fx is a reflection of both Michelle and I, and Michelle and I had interests that lay outside of just diet and exercise. Although you look at me and you think the only thing that I ever do is exercise, that could be further from the truth. I have a lot of interests, and so does Michelle, and those interests are reflected into what Paleo Fx is today. So if you go to a Paleo Fx conference where you see talks and demonstrations on the paleo diet, carnivore diet, and all diets that would fall underneath the paleo umbrella, including keto, yes, you will. And you also see talks on consciousness, on spirituality, on decentralization of markets, on decentralization of school systems, on communal living, on going off grid. It's on relationships, on, what do tribal communities look like? How can we best reflect that in the modern world? So there are all kinds and facets that go along with this show. And we say, at the end of the day, it is a human optimization show. So if biohacking is your path to human optimization, yes, you will find it there. If spirituality and consciousness exploration and psychedelics is your path to human optimization, yes, you'll find it there, and you'll find talks. If you're into cryptocurrencies or precious metals or any form of decentralized monetary systems, yep, you'll find it there at Paleo Fx as well.
That's awesome. Can you tell me about some of the speakers who fit into the different categories: consciousness, spirituality, decentralization, things along those lines, off the grid?
Well, so here's one interesting character is our favorite Dan and Micra. So Piron, which they kind of fit into a number of different categories, right? So it's for sure the spirituality, consciousness side of it, yes, but also the health and wellness side of it, the practical side of health and wellness. Micra are not just about, because they are our personal doctors too. They're not just about keeping somebody baseline healthy. They are about optimizing the human being, right? So they are a perfect fit for this conference, a perfect fit. And those are the type of forward-thinking individuals that we want, because they are changing medical science as we go forward. Not only from the medical standpoint, but also infusing the consciousness element into this too, which Michelle and I firmly believe it's a balancing thing here. A quick aside, one thing that Michelle and I have seen over the years, and this is one thing that we wanted to change with Paleo Fx, one thing we wanted to infuse into Paleo Fx, which Dan and Mike were a reflection of, is the fact that if you work with people who are, let's say, biohacking centric or health and wellness centric, they will completely disavow the spiritual, emotional component that goes into optimizing a human being. But we also circulate in some very, how can I say, woo crowds, because we are here in Austin. And so those crowds. And what you'll see in the people who are immersed in that side of it is kind of a spiritual bypassing of the body. You know, it's derogatory. It's the meat suit. It's kind of it's almost like the scarlet letter that we're dragging around that, you know, through this existence. And we're like, no, you know, from our point of view, the body is in fact a temple. This, you know, for whatever reason, we chose to incarnate in this 3D world, and this vehicle is how we navigate that world. And so from our point of view, that temple needs to be maintained as best as it can be. So it's two sides of the same coin. And this is reflected in Paleo FX. So you'll have also I'm trying to think of someone that I can bring up that you and I would know very, very well and we're intimate with, and that would be Dan Engel. So people might ask, well, you know, Dan Engel is a facilitator in the psychedelic space, a very, very smart individual on the cutting edge of bringing these treatments mainstream into the US, into Western science. And yes, he is a perfect fit at Paleo FX. These are the types of individuals that you'll see speaking at Paleo FX. So, and, you know, we have over 100 speakers. So my recommendation is, if you're curious about going to Paleo FX, go to the website, www.paleofx.com, and you will see a tab that says speakers. Each one of the speakers is laid out, their talk, what they're about. And that would probably be the best, the best way. That way anyone can go there and just kind of get a purview and look and just see the array of people that are going to be there.
I love how you've evolved. You and Michelle have evolved, and it's kind of a fun use of the word evolve, Paleo FX,
right,
to include so many wide, interesting topics, from psychedelics and consciousness to decentralization and cryptocurrency. And I know at least last Paleo FX, you did things on education, the whole you know, alternative education approaches and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's so cool how, you know, you've taken a concept that used to be just, like you said, just be about diet, nutrition, a little bit of fitness and stuff, and just like, no, it's about everything that has humans do, really.
Right.
Let's rethink every institution, every system, and how we show up in our lives and how we relate to other people and the world in which we live in.
Right. And this rolls back to the, you know, to the book we wrote, Primal Uprising, that reflects the same, it's the same thing. It reflects the 7 pillars that we see is contributing to an overall optimized human being. Those 7 pillars are reflected in Paleo FX, and that's really how Michelle and I have lived our lives. You know, another thing we do, some people aren't aware that we do this, but we also coach. We also facilitate retreats and one-on-one experiences and couples work. And in doing that work, we really learned that, you know, if we're dealing with somebody who is affected by trauma, or they're going through a rough spot in their life, it's generally one of the pillars that we cover in Primal Uprising is out of whack. And what generally happens, most human beings will double down on what they are good at. Right. And everybody is a natural at one of these pillars. I happen to be a natural at the physical fitness side of things. And I learned this very early on in life. I would say that I am not as gifted in the relationship side of things. So early in my life, and Michelle would tell you, not so early, kind of even late, that and it's a natural human inclination to double down on what you're good at to try to raise the entire ship. Right. And that can work sometimes in the short term, but it never works forever. And it never works for long. The wheels will come off. And my wheels did come off in that area. And people that we work with, the wheels come off, and we're there to patch them back up and get, you know, there's never a perfect balance. There's always a flux between these 7 areas. But you want to, how can I say, minimize the wild swings between the two. between all of them. So that's kind of the approach that we used, and that will be reflected in Paleo Fx as well.
I love that. And it reminds me of over at SEALFIT, we have 5 mountains. One of them is physical, one's a mental, and intuition and emotional, et cetera, et cetera. It doesn't really matter the mountains, but just the physical and emotional one. We have guys and gals come in and they're like, man, I can't wait to climb the physical mountain, like which is a Kokoro camp or a Spartan race or whatever, double, whatever. And like, well, let's work on the emotional mountain. Oh, no. I'd rather work on the physical mountain. Like,
that's it.
You're good at the physical mountain. Let's work on the emotional mountain. No, I'd rather climb the real mountain. No, let's talk about the emotional stuff.
Yeah, totally.
So I feel you on that. Yeah.
Right. And you can see, again, being in Austin, we work with a lot of entrepreneurs because Austin is an entrepreneurial hub. And what do entrepreneurs do when things start going squirrely, right? They double down on their entrepreneurship, start another business, and that's never the answer, right? They have the entrepreneurship financial thing sewed up. That's where they're gifted. That's where their natural ability lies. And as they're starting up that new business, as they're, looking to acquire another business, the relationships are just tanking and they can't figure out why. They're going to fix it with what they know, and it never works out. So, yeah.
Right on. Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad and I'm not surprised you have such an integrated approach to the work that you do with individuals, couples, and groups. And then obviously a Paleo Fx is a reflection of that kind of approach. One more time, can you give the website?
It's www.paleofxfoxtrotxray.com. FX.
Cool.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Keith.
Absolutely. And I would encourage everybody to come out. So what people will inevitably tell you when they ask, like, what was your favorite part of the show? And we do these intakes because we are entrepreneurs. We want to know what people like. So we'll do, post evaluations after the show, and inevitably people never come back with this particular talk made the show or this particular event, or they always will say something along the lines of, I don't know what it was, but there was a vibe there that was just magnetic. And they will come back year after year and we call it tribe vibe now. There is just an energy in that environment that is just so uplifting. I think it's because you get, 8 to 10,000 like-minded people together, all vibrating at the same energy level. These are all sovereign, freedom-loving, health-loving, human optimization individuals. You get that kind of energy gathered together under one roof. Yeah, you're going to feel a certain vibe. You certainly are. And that whole arena just vibrates that way. That is my favorite part, by the way, too. Just being in that atmosphere.
I'm not surprised. Yeah. That's so cool. So let me encourage folks to check it out. Not only great speakers and learning tons of stuff, but what'd you call it? The tribe vibe?
Tribe vibe.
Walk away with the tribe vibe?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Go check out Paleo Fx and get your vibration going with the tribe vibe. That's
excellent. Cool. Yeah. And I will say too, one more thing to entice people to come, the after parties are pretty sweet as well. So we have Parangi playing the Saturday night charity event, which is a Burning Man type event here in Austin, which will be very cool. So another thing you will find out if you come to Paleo Fx, that healthy people really love to express themselves in healthy ways too. Life is all about having fun. The healthier you are, the more vibrant you are, the more fun you get to have too on the other side of it. This world is not all work, right? Human expression comes out in a number of different ways. Fun and bliss is one of them. And Parangi can set the stage for that for sure. If you've ever seen him live, it's something to behold.
Well, I got to say, I love, and we'll end it here with Paleo Fx, like get your bliss on.
Get your bliss on, totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Keith.
Thanks, Michael.
Good luck, buddy.